Hey there, it's Ben Hyde here, and today we're taking a look at the Alcatel, their new lineup here. We've got the Alcatel 1B and the Alcatel 1X. We're going to kind of do just a little bit of an unboxing, and we're also going to just see how these phones, which are super budget phones, this one I believe is around 100 bucks Canadian, and this one retails for about 150. So we're going to kind of see what these entry-level phones, how they perform, and how they stack up against, phones that are crazy expensive compared to these. For instance, the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra, at launch, you could buy literally 20 phones or 21 of these phones in Canada for the same price as that phone. This one you're looking more along the line of around 14 phones. So 14 of these, 21 of these for the same price as a Galaxy S20. Really? We're going to see how it shapes up. So first up, we're going to take a look here at the Alcatel 1B and see what's in the box and what you get with a super affordable phone here. As you can see, actually I did take a look, honestly, just opened the box just to kind of peek, but I never actually took stuff out of it. So this is all new for me. We've got a couple of guides here, manuals, looks like French and English here for us Canadians. It does come with a charger in there, cable, and then looks like our battery as well. Looks like we get an add-in battery, which is quite unique for this day and age. So now that we've got the stuff out of the box, we're looking at a 1 amp 5-volt charger, a micro USB charger here. So it's kind of old school, not the USB-C that we see in all the newer phones. But so we've got the 1 amp charger, micro USB, and a 3000 milliamp battery. So it's kind of unique here with this phone with a removable back. There actually is a bit of a pry notch there. I'm not sure if you can see that on the video there, but there's a pry notch. So we pop that sucker open, and then we have the option or the opportunity to insert the battery, and of course your SIM card as well. But for this first look today here, we're not putting a SIM card in, and then we're going to fire this up and see exactly what we're into. Alright, so we're powering up the phone here. Again, keep in mind this is the 1B. This is the lowest end phone that Alcatel is currently offering. So we don't expect it to be a super speedy powerhouse. A couple things to note as this boots up. Again, we have that removable battery with that pry notch there. Also, there is expandable storage, and it takes a micro SIM, or a nano SIM rather, to get you connected. It is unlocked, so you can connect to your favorite network provider, and we're just going to take a break here and set up this device. Alright, so we're connecting to Wi-Fi here. It's trying to find a Wi-Fi network. We definitely have a Wi-Fi network here. We've got an open one here, BCC HQ South open. Going to connect to that to allow the phone to do the rest of its setup and maintenance and updates and everything that it needs to do. Alrighty, we've got the update installed. That we're just going to do a total fresh dealio here and finish this setup. Alright, we are signed into our Google account, and we should be good to go here. Alright, we're going to set up a screen lock here. That looks good. Nice and secure. Should do it. And why don't we continue? We should be very good here and get the chance to take a look at the first boot off of the Alcatel 1B. There we go. So we can see here we've got a couple options. We've got different home screen styles. We've got our home screen with a whole drawer thing, which I'm pretty much used to, so we're going to leave it with that. The other option is just a home screen only, kind of really simplify it. But this way we've got the drawer to all of our apps and that sort of thing, and pull down for notifications, of course, as well. So that's the first look, first boot, and unboxing of the Alcatel 1B. We're going to take a look also at the Alcatel 1X, so stay tuned. It's still Ben Hyde here at BCC Hardware, and right now we're going to take a look at now the Alcatel One X and open this little device here and see what $150 gets you as opposed to $2,200 Canadian here for the S20 Ultra. So we've got the device here. We've also got the, again, the same precautions and safety guide as well as the quick start guide, a SIM eject tool. So that's a little different because the last phone, the 1B, the back was removable, so we didn't need an eject tool for that. This one clearly is not a removable back, so we've got our SIM eject tool, and we've got our power adapter here as well as our cable. All right, with the 1X, as we see, we've got a little bit bigger screen, 32 gigs of RAM internal, or ROM, as well as 2 gigs of RAM. So not a RAM powerhouse, but should be enough to get the job done for just about everybody, especially for the price point. Also around back here, it's a really pretty phone. So we're going to peel this off to take a better look and see what they've done. It's a plastic back versus all these glass backs, so it's going to be more durable, but it's also probably going to take scratches easier. Kind of a nice gradient there from blue, very metallic fleck blue to black at the top there. We've got our cameras, we've got our side buttons with the volume and power, USB Type-C in the bottom, and on this other side we've got our Bixby button or Google Assistant kind of button, as well as the SIM card slot there as well. The 1X has that SIM card tray that we mentioned, and it also supports a micro SD expandable storage as well. So once you get that loaded up with everything you need for extra storage and your SIM, go ahead and pop that in, and we're going to, without a SIM in there, we're going to boot this up and just take a look at, again, first boot and first setup. While it does that, I guess I did forget to mention that this connector here is a 2 amp charger, where the 1B was a 1 amp. So you're going to get a little bit faster charge through the USB Type-C connection. Not the worst splash screen in the world, but it's definitely not real high-end. What I kind of like about this phone, for the price point, you're actually getting a notch screen even with the camera up at the top there, which is pretty cool. The fact that for this price you get a notch screen. All right, it connected to Wi-Fi a little bit faster, as you saw. The last one took a fair bit of time to detect and connect to this Wi-Fi. This one's doing a little bit better. Again, it's going to check for updates, install updates, and we'll be back when it does that to finish the first time setup. All right, now that the basic install setup is done, we're going to not copy our apps and data and that sort of thing, and let it continue on with setup. All right, we're going to set up the super duper secure screen lock here because that's what we want to do. Want to make sure that nobody guesses our screen lock unless they try 1,111 times, and they'll probably get it right at that point. Just finishing up the last couple things here with the setup in this phone. We're going to skip the voice match, voice assistant stuff for the moment, because we're basically just using this as a demo phone here for a few days just to see how it stacks up and what you're getting for the price, because this is incredibly affordable. Is it good enough is my question for a replacement phone, for a backup phone, or for a first-time phone. We'll find out. Stay tuned for a little bit more here as we compare the Alcatel One X, the 1B, and see how they stack up with expensive flagship phones from Samsung. So we've got all three phones lined up here side by side. We've got the 1B, the 1X, and the S20 Ultra. We're going to make sure that everything is closed here on all phones, and then just for funsies, not really a fair comparison, but we're going to load up a couple things and see how it goes. So see if we can do this here with Google Play. On the count of 3, we're going to get 3 things going here. 1, 2, 3. And interestingly enough, the S20, I mean, not surprising, was the first one up. Next up was the 1B. The slowest phone of the bunch was the second fastest phone to launch, the Chrome or the Google Play Store. So that's that. Now we're going to launch the Chrome browser. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. Samsung up first, this guy's up second, and the 1X up last once again. Super interesting. I wouldn't have bet that. All right, the other thing we're going to do here, we did the Play Store, we did that. We're going to launch the camera app. Once again here on the count of 3. 1, 2, and 3. And between the S20 and the 1, and this one came up last again. So that's interesting. The Alcatel 1X, more features, better interface, higher res screen, but all that comes at a hit of performance. So, I mean, none of them are sluggish. I mean, you can pull down your apps and do what you got to do there. I guess there's not that many apps installed on any of those phones, but they're responsive for sure. There's not that they're unresponsive or laggy. It's just the 1X is the slowest of the two from Alcatel, of course. That's not a fair comparison. We'll get that guy out of the picture for now. So we're going to be doing a little bit more here over the next few days, comparing the 1X and the 1B, and we'll be letting you guys know and seeing how our thoughts are, in a few days. Right now, though, I will say that the 1B with that plastic back on it, I mean, it's a nice feel. It's grippier. You're not going to drop it. Is easy, but it feels cheap. It feels like a Nokia, like a Lumia phone that Microsoft was selling a few years back. And this one feels a lot higher quality, but I do guarantee you that it's going to scratch the heck unless you get a case on this guy. So we're going to be back here in the next little bit. It'll just be for moments for you guys, but over the next few days we're going to take a look at these, see how they perform in the real world, and see if we could survive with a mainstream phone rather than a crazy flagship. Again, this is Ben Hyde for BCC Hardware. Signing off for now. I'll be right back. So as we're wrapping up the comparison here with the new Alcatel 1B and the 1X, just a couple things to note. First of all, they're not a Galaxy S anything. These are definitely entry-level phones based on the build quality, the fit and finish. I mean, very, very plasticky, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you'll be able to drop this onto concrete and you're not going to shatter the back of it like you would a glass phone. So there is that extra durability. The 1X, on the other hand, my concern with it is that it's very, very beautiful, very shiny, and plasticky as well. But my feeling is that you're probably going to end up having some major scratches in that. The plastic feels a little bit stiffer, which adds a better feel to the device. But at the same time, that stiffer plastic could crack if you drop it. So I'm not sure how you're going to get a case for kind of an entry-level phone like that. But overall, I mean, these phones are quite fast. I mean, for what they are, battery life on them is phenomenal. I haven't been using them heavily, but I don't know if you can see there, battery life is down 86% basically out of probably a day's worth of usage just with Wi-Fi on. Once you stick a SIM card in that, of course, and it's searching for Wi-Fi or for a mobile signal, you're definitely going to drop. This one here with a bigger screen, we're looking at 77%. So you're going to see better battery life on the smaller device, smaller battery but slower processor, less screen resolution equals ultimately a bit longer battery life for that. So the question I'm kind of asking myself is here, could I use one of these as a fill-in, let's say if my S20 Ultra was down out of commission for breakage or warranty? I totally could. These phones, they're not a premium experience, but you know what? They're plenty good to fill in for a person who's used to something faster. They're not pathetically slow. They're definitely slower. If you're trying to run massive amounts of applications, it's going to struggle. But for basic usage, for texting, messaging, phone calls, I mean, web browsing, camera, anything, they're decent. They're very solid. I believe the MSRP on the 1B is around $100, $120 in Canada, and the 1X is around that $150 to $180. Totally worth the price. Fantastic value on both. Oddly though, my money would be on the 1B, the absolute entry-level device. I think it's going to stand up longer, but again, keep in mind these do not have any water ingress protection with a removable back. So there is that, right? Things to keep in mind, both solid products, these Alcatel 1B and 1X, both solid products, both worth looking at if you're looking for a smartphone on a budget that you want to do everything. These will pretty much do everything. Not as well as a $2,000 phone, but again, you could buy 14 of this for the price of a S20 Ultra. Again, this is Ben Hyde from BCC Hardware, taking a look at the Alcatel 1B, the 1X, and giving our thoughts. We have camera samples, link in the description at YouTube there, so make sure you check that out if you want some camera samples. Those will be available. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you next time.